Content warning. Q beliefs. Anti-Semitic conspiracy theory.
From what the Galactic Federation has told me, we're an experiment, right? But not just any experiment. We're a prophecy planet.
What?
Yeah.
So the reptilians are of a lower frequency.
Justin Bieber was going to shapeshift into a giant reptilian on stage.
That's what I thought. How am I ever going to be human again? Because I know it's not real. What do you think will happen when that is clear, undeniable truth?
I mean, I think we're at that point. We have clear, undeniable truth. I feel like I'm 2 steps ahead, 3 steps ahead and saying UFOs are real. Aliens are real. Why? Why are they here? Who are they?
Hello everybody, welcome to the Clown Town. I'm Gus.
I'm Val. It's nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Whether it's your first time here or you're returning to the mess, thank you and we appreciate you for supporting us.
Cheers! So today we are doing a little rundown on Danica Patrick. Now I'll admit I don't know much about her. This is a bit of a jump off starting point for research on her, we feel like. There's a lot. So she was a NASCAR and IndyCar driver.
Like gets clear there. And she gets in on the bumper but just doesn't get off of him. Right there's where you're talking and you just turn it left and lock it down.
And she had a chance to not go up hit that wall if she just stayed on the brakes and kept it down there.
Well, rule number 1 in stock car racing is learn how to wreck someone without wrecking yourself.
This is a chart containing the yearly averages of every NASCAR driver who competed in the full seasons from 2013 to 2017. You have your peaks and valleys, but for the most part, they stay confined to this row, from 10th to 20th. Well, all except for this one. This driver competed in every race in the same time frame for a team that didn't just make the playoffs, but competed for and won multiple championships. And yet not once could they even crack the top 20.
And now she is a commentator on F1. Was, keyword.
Unfortunately, it still seems like Danica has her job with Sky News as a sports commentator and that the reports I saw about her getting sacked were fake.
One thing we want to preface this by saying is that we are not saying that women do not deserve to be in that space. We 100% believe that. We simply do not believe that this woman deserves to be in that space.
So Danica Patrick has basically turned into a conspiracy theorist of the kind that we spoke about in our previous Pastel Q video, and she believes a lot of things that are not true, that do not have any evidence, but she claims that there's lots of evidence out there. I believe though that this last podcast that came out before she was fired from Formula One was the straw that broke the camel's back. I think that this one maybe got more attention than some of the other things that she was posting, because this is not her first rodeo around these type of topics.
Nay.
Danica Patrick's greatest conspiratorial hits include misinformation such as her interview with Teal Swan, who inspired a documentary about her cult-like following, a conversation about when we should go to war with a millionaire and podcaster, a discussion about aliens on Earth with red-pilled conspiracy theorist Ralph Smart, posing the question, did we ever land on the moon, with Stephen Greer, a ufologist, an interview with Joe Dispenza, who claimed he repaired his broken spine through the power of the mind, the podcast we're talking about, titled How to Spot a Reptilian Shapeshifter, a conversation with Greg Braden regarding what they call the lie of climate change, questioning whether we live in a simulation or base reality with an astrophysicist, asking if an entity can attach to you with an alleged biohacker. Jordan Peterson, laughing stock of the internet, claims on her podcast that there is no free say, asking if gravity is even real with YouTuber Physics Girl, revealing the alleged truth about the deep state with a self-proclaimed consciousness expert, proclaiming that we are all addicts with Rich Roll, a motivational speaker.
So this podcast was not just Danica Patrick by herself. This was actually an interview with another woman named Elizabeth Ashley, I believe. And so she is the one that is spewing most of these beliefs.
The solar system is moving through this photon belt, right? And I think it's a 26,000 year cycle or something like that.
26,000 years.
Yeah, and so the last time we were kind of at the peak of our consciousness was Atlantis and Lemuria, right? And then, you know, the planet fell and we went into the dark ages, and now we're coming back around to it. So there is no denying it. There is no stopping it. It's not just the sentiment of, oh, the light has won. It's like, it's scientific.
However, Danica is definitely affirming her and leading her in certain areas to try to say certain things, I think.
But there's a lot of still evil forces or ego and negativity. Maybe we could kind of distill down on that. What is that? Like, what is that that's pulling us back? What is it that's challenging us? Is it an entity, a group?
So this wasn't just the interviewee spewing and then Danica just kind of asking questions and moving on. Danica seems to agree.
She wasn't the one saying every single belief on here, but she was definitely like, oh yes, per.
Because of the downfall, like the lower frequency, and then the control of the reptilians.
So the reptilians are of a lower frequency.
Yes.
And so the rise of frequency is not in there, is not resonant with them, and it's resonant with us, so it essentially creates a bigger divide between us and them.
Exactly.
And
she was given the snaps.
Yes.
Tens across the board. So today we are going to be looking at a tweet that a wonderful Twitter user put out, because they basically did an accumulation of all the main points of one of Danica Patrick's most recent podcasts, aka the one that got her fired.
I listened to a good 20 minutes of the podcast, and I think that this tweet with its bullet points encapsulates what it was trying to say perfectly, and if there's any extra added context I can try to add. I just couldn't listen to too much of it because it's, like I said, a lot.
Brain rot central. Another thing we want to preface this by saying, the things that she's saying, she genuinely believes. To the average layperson who doesn't believe this stuff, it might seem very silly. We've already made a few jokes. We have a alien on our thing. Like, we are having a goof and gaff because that's what we like to do around these parts. However, we do want to stress how dangerous these beliefs can be, because people will genuinely cause harm due to these beliefs. This isn't simply internet brain rot. It goes farther than that.
We're not saying you can't make a joke about it, but it's not just a joke. It's actual harm that can be caused by people believing these sort of things and by not putting their energy into the actual problems in the world because they're believing in the Galactic Federation and such.
We are also including sources in the description about how this lizard people trope has incredibly anti-Semitic and anti-immigrant roots that date back to the 19th century. Maybe Danica Patrick and her podcast guests don't know this, but that doesn't make them perpetuating this conspiracy any less harmful to these communities.
So let's just get right to this list. It was made by a Twitter user named Yep H. Olsen. My apologies, I looked up how to say this first name, which is a Danish name, because I was going to say Jeep.
I was gonna say Yeppy.
So, and then I forgot the last name, so my apologies. Thank you very much for putting this information out there so that we don't have to go and give her views, but we can know the actual kind of harmful stuff that she's saying. I think that this kind of stuff is really important.
All right, let's jump right into it. So the tweet starts with, I listened to the Danica Patrick Lizard People podcast, so you don't have to.
A public service.
Thank you for your service, sir. I'm so sorry I couldn't say your name right, because you deserve the utmost respect for doing what honestly I believe no man should have to do. Nor woman, nor person. All right, so let's just get to this. Reptilians invented money to control us. I think this is a perfect point to bring up the fact that Val said. They're bringing up very real issues in the world.
Before, it was so individually driven of how do I make more money and have more power? And now it's how do we spread this abundance to the collective and make sure that everyone has access equally to resources and food and water and housing and...
Money is a huge issue that has a lot of control over people. But then you get the cute conspiratorial layer of, oh, but it's the reptilians. Why can't we just believe that governments are trying to screw us over? It's really not that hard, baby.
And if we can all get on the same page about this, we can organize, we can work together, and we can make a better world. But as long as we have people who are convinced that it's the reptilian people trying to control us, that's gonna be a lot more difficult.
And another thing about that is, a lot of the people that are cute believers, a lot of the people that are this and that, they're very vocal. So to have the voice of someone that is willing to put both their face and their mindset and their opinions on the internet, to have a person like that on your side is lovely. That's That's not good. They have a lot of very vocal people on their side. It's not good for the average layperson, but I think it could be a lesson to say that maybe we need to be more vocal as well about how fake and nonsensical and not based on evidence all of this stuff is.
But also, there are small kernels of truth. Like you said, governments are using money to control us. And so some of the things that are being said, there are kernels of truth. It's not completely nonsensical. The parts that are completely nonsensical are the reptilians and the aliens.
The Galactic Federation! Space Force!
Let's continue. The reptilians are not okay with the shifting of the energies.
What energies? Explain! Baby, what the f are you talking about? Disrespectfully! Be more specific!
We are at a choice point in history. No mention of what choice, though.
We were at this sort of choice point. And so I thought that we just kind of start off with a check-in of like, how are we doing with being at this choice point in history on this planet as a culture? How are we doing?
Yeah, great question. To kick it off, we're getting through.
From 2024 to 2028, we will see the uprising of the new Earth frequency. You know what I think that means? I don't know! I don't know!
And the thing is, I was listening to the podcast to try to get more clarification, and I only got more confused.
2024 and 2028 is the uprising of the solutions, the uprising of the new Earth frequency. And we're going to continue to see that old energy fight back, both individually and collectively.
I don't think that the lack of specificity is the tweet creator's fault. I genuinely think that it's just Danica not being specific and just spewing BS. That's what I think.
People are getting unalived over free energy technologies.
With that one, yes, I think governments in the world are doing some really fucked up things to advance, but again, like, be specific, baby, what are you talking about?
But was there a certain case where this happened? Were there certain cases where this happened? You can't just say that something is happening and not let us know where. She's gonna tell us a great place for us to find resources about this later. She's gonna be really helpful, so.
Oh, that's her. Oh, Lord, oh, God, this one sucks. I didn't read this one before. People in the past, quote, found the solution for cancer, but they were unalived. I really don't know what to say about that one other than, wow.
So back in the day, there were 1 or 2 guys who basically had the balls to have these solutions and say, hey, I found a solution for cancer. They were kicked off every single time. Now, if we have hundreds of people all around the world, all coming out with the same solutions because they understand vibrational frequency, that's what everything comes back to.
There are new solutions coming from people who understand vibrational frequency. So why don't they understand how to avoid being unalived by the Galactic Federation or whoever, or the government or the reptilians, or, you know, like, there's just a lot of holes here.
Yeah, like, who did the unaliving? What solution for what? There's so many notes that we simply cannot get through them all. There are waves of energy hitting our galaxy, which are increasing the vibrations of our planet.
The main thing that's happening is the increasing vibration of the planet. We've got a lot of, like, I call it cosmic radiation, probably not the best word, but we're getting these influx, these waves of energy hitting the planet. It's hitting our whole solar system. It's moving throughout the universe.
You know what that is? Entropy. Entropy means the world continuously keeps getting more and more chaotic and more different as time goes on. Because things are changing, things are happening, things are splitting. That's how the world works. Yay! And you want a little gold star for your little 2nd grade science project? They're talking about this stuff that they have no basis to be talking about. This isn't exactly their cup of tea. This woman is a race car driver. Anyway.
The reptilians are scared because the humans are gaining power. Again, we do not have time. We do not have time.
We do not have time. The Galactic Federation says that the planet belongs to the humans. Even though the reptilians were here before us,
it's prophesized that human beings, right, this hybrid species that we are meant to be here. And the reptilians are free to be here as well, as long as they're okay with the shifting of the energies. And they're not okay with that, because what that's doing is it's bringing the power to humanity, to the people.
That is such a white supremacist viewpoint. Oh, they were here before us, but this is still my chosen land.
But somehow the reptilians are still the elite.
And they're still the ones that like created the power structures. It's so weird. Again, just so many layers we could go through for basically all of these bullet points, and we're trying to keep this brief so we won't.
Also, if you're like, what's the Galactic Federation? Allegedly, according to these people, it is a group of extraterrestrials from different planets and species and such who come together and discuss inter- and intraplanetary matters.
It's kind of like the Council of Ricks in Rick and Morty. Humans haven't had this kind of power since we inhabited Atlantis.
Because we inhabited Atlantis.
Yay!
That's real.
That's so real, dog.
Many reptilians are transmuting into the light because of the vibrations. Oh, I have a further explanation for this one. She's basically saying that they can't handle the new energy, and so a lot of the reptilians are literally unaliving.
A lot of the reptilians right now are transmuting into the light. They're actually they're leaving their body and they're
Really?
crossing. Yeah, they can't handle the
They can
frequency
choose
here.
it?
Some of them are choosing to leave, yes. A lot of them, without their choice, without their they have free will, but
Sure.
without their choice, okay, they're transmuting because the higher vibration is forcing them out.
Is that what they think is gonna happen to Justin Bieber and Adele when they're on stage?
No.
Oh, they're just gonna be revealed.
Yes. Don't jump ahead, please.
I'm jumping ahead right now. I'm so sorry. Many celebrities and politicians are reptilians. Among them, Adele and Justin Bieber.
In the next 4 years, the celebrity reptilians will all shapeshift into their true forms because of the vibrations. Those who do not wish to show their true forms will transmute into the light, aka unalive.
They are either dying suddenly, right? So this is part of a transmutation, or they can't hold their shape-shifting form anymore because the vibration's getting too high.
We're able to see more too.
So I predict in the next 4 years, the ones who are stubborn enough to stay,
we're gonna see them.
We're gonna see them. Do you know
that? It's not just gonna be Adele and Justin Bieber.
Exactly. Remember that girl on the plane video?
Yes.
Did you see that? Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that's a great example of a reptilian who just
Was that the Miami thing too?
The Miami thing was something different altogether. Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Here it is.
Wait, sorry. Before Gus says this, this is a channeled vision that Miss Elizabeth had in 2012.
Justin Bieber will accidentally shapeshift on stage in front of thousands. The audience will have their minds wiped. Quote, like the Men in Black situation. That's how they suppress the truth.
One day, Justin Bieber was going to shapeshift into a giant reptilian on stage in front of hundreds of thousands who all have their phone on him. Oh my God. Yeah, there's been a lot of celebrity shapeshifter sightings, and they've just shut it all down in the news, media. In a case like they're on stage and that just happens and they kind of slip their true form. I mean, how do you shut down hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of live streaming?
I mean, unless you got like a Men in Black situation where someone can come in and move back time a little, or
yeah, that's what they've done before, right?
Yeah?
The Men in Black stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, they swoop right in. That's how they've been able to suppress the truth.
We didn't do the timing right.
Ready? 1, 2. You're not gonna remember anything.
Nah.
The government knows that cosmic disclosure is happening.
Excuse me. What in the McF is cosmic disclosure?
We don't have time. Want proof? Google it! Those were exact words.
What do you, like, when you hear people say, where's the proof, what do you think?
I think Google it.
Yeah.
So next one, government whistleblowers have confirmed the existence of the Galactic Federation.
UFOs are real. Aliens are real. Videos from the 1940s prove it.
That's like the only bullet point where I'm like, yeah, probably.
But do videos from the 1940s prove it?
Okay, not that part. I'm talking about the aliens. Elizabeth April communicates directly with aliens in the Galactic Federation. She knows the rundown for sure.
That's how she knows all this, of course. The human race is an experiment. We live on a prophecy planet.
From what the Galactic Federation has told me, we're an experiment, right? But not just any experiment. We're a prophecy planet. What? Yeah.
Again, with like the supremacy of the human race, we're so important, me.
I, cool.
The human race was created to, quote, end the war of all war in the universe. I think what we said for the last one applies perfectly to that. Like, oh, you're the saviors. You're gonna come in and save the whole galaxy. Sounds like a fucking movie. This sounds like a movie.
Really compare it to like Superman, right? And like before Superman knew who he was and the fact that he came from off planet and that he had a mission for humanity.
Yeah, almost like Neo too, right? Neo had to almost had to believe he wasn't the one to do the thing that needed to be done.
Yes.
And they use movie references like Men in Black, so it's like, how am I supposed to believe you? I don't.
26,000 years ago, humans inhabited Atlantis. They were given everything. All knowledge, all information, all technology, all advancement. Because we were the prophecy planet, so they were like, ha ha, just give it to them all, right? That's
just throw spaghetti at the wall.
That's the premise.
Okay.
However, the humans of Atlantis ruined it. They couldn't handle the technology, so Atlantis and civilization had to fall, plunging the world into a dark age where everyone had their minds wiped.
Crazy how the very first sin was a woman who ate. A lot of the Atlanteans have chosen this time to reincarnate, because apparently you choose when you reincarnate. That's just so peachy keen.
Isn't that fun?
Well, isn't that special?
In order to take care of others, you have to take care of yourself. I agree with that. If you give too much without receiving, you can burn out. I can also agree with that. Sometimes burnout looks like cancer. Oh.
No. You lost me.
No.
Cut cams.
Yeah, I think the big C just looks like a tumor.
Elizabeth April says she has a friend who's a rocket scientist at NASA. And they say she's right about everything.
And one of my friends is actually a rocket scientist at NASA. Cool. And she did my quantum, it's called the Quantum Human Workshop. And she's like, you were spot on about everything. Yeah.
Because that one guy that got into NASA, probably because of his daddy, says that I'm right about everything, and that means I'm right.
Right? This reality is a simulation.
This reality is as real as the dreams that you were having last night. It's kind of like a video game. And there are 3 stages or 3 levels to the simulation, no matter what incarnation you're in.
Meaning incarnation on this planet? Or
anywhere.
Incarnation anywhere?
Anywhere in the universe, yeah.
If I run over Danica Patrick with my car, is that a simulation, or did I actually run her over with my car?
I wish no harm on Danica Patrick. The point I'm trying to make is that people like Danica claim we live in a simulation without fully explaining it in example. How can we still suffer human consequences? Hope that makes sense and it doesn't just sound like I want to run her over.
Next, wait, what? Humans didn't evolve. We were engineered as a mix of many different alien species.
What's so cool about this prophecy, about being this hybrid creation that we are, we get to go to level 3 here on planet Earth in the 3rd dimension.
So
which is unheard of, right? And this is what makes us so special.
How come? Why can't they go there in other places? Like, why can't other civilizations do it?
Because we did not naturally evolve on planet Earth. We had help, right?
Because we're so special, aren't we?
Yeah. You did miss the one where you don't unalive, you go back to source and reincarnate in a new simulation.
Huh?
Are they ever gonna tell us who's running this simulation? There's aliens, there's galactic federations, there's universe energies and all that stuff, but it's a simulation.
Is it Gandalf? Is it Justin Bieber? Who is it? Quantum physics prove that it's a simulation. The double slit experiment is the proof.
You're not playing the levels. You're not winning a game. you're creating the game.
Yeah.
So that's the simulation. So, and I believe that this is going to be proven by quantum physics if it already hasn't been, right? So the double slit experiment essentially proves that as we observe the reality around us, it essentially loads around us.
Yeah.
So anything that I can't see behind me doesn't technically exist. It's in a wave form.
I did love it where she was like, so I'm not a quantum physicist, but I'm like, wow, I couldn't tell.
I'm not an astrophysicist, but...
Yeah, also, if you're not a quantum physicist, shut the f up and stop pretending like you know physics. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you making a quantum physics class?
Yeah, I have one. Yeah, I have a workshop. Yeah.
If you're, quote, in the vibration of abundance, not this bullshit, you, quote, get to emit that vibration to the world and change the frequency of the planet.
Understand that you are the creator of your reality. Create the reality that lights you up the most, and then move into mission work, and then give back to the rest of the planet when you're at a place where everything's good. Because at that place, you are in the highest vibration.
Sure you do.
Okay, bestie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, totally.
If Danica believes that she can create her own reality, why did she have such a failure of a career at NASCAR? She's mostly remembered for crashing and having expensive sponsorships without the driving to back it up.
If you think about something, you can manifest it. For example, Elizabeth April thought very hard about a basketball. Then, later, she was walking past a basketball court, and there was a basketball.
So one manifestation game that I play often, just like a creating your own reality game, is I'll think of something bizarre, just totally bizarre, totally out there, and I'll try and bring it into my universe. So the other day, I was like, okay, you know what? A basketball. I have not touched, picked up, or even thought of a basketball in years, right? And what happens is you pull that thing into this density because you're bringing it in from a quantum place, a mind place, and
collecting waveform, almost like.
You're collecting waveform, exactly. And then just the other day, it took me 4 days to manifest this. I was walking with the stroller, I was walking my little boy, and this kid, I was like walking by these basketball courts, and this freaking basketball rolls right on over to me.
Okay. I was gonna say, if you just went by, but it rolled right in front of you.
It's like, oh my god, I went to Papa John's and I had manifested a pizza. Oh my god!
Can you believe I manifested a beef bowl at the Yoshinoya?
Like, you wanna know what I did? I manifested this monster by buying it at the 7-Eleven this morning.
If it was that easy, there would be so many less problems in the world because a lot of people really care and are putting their energy into trying to fix them. And so if it's just as easy as like emitting into the whatever.
Also, may I just say, the people that are usually the ones that need these energetic shifts and the manifestation and whatever, they're the ones with the best mindsets in the world. People that are having hard times genuinely like to see the good in what they have. How are you gonna say their mindset wasn't good enough? Danica went on a, quote, guided mushroom journey, end quote, where she became a waveform.
I took a big mushroom journey. When I was in that space, the first thing I dropped into was waveform. And I was like, I knew I wasn't real.
Wow.
And I was like, how am I ever gonna be human again? That's what I thought. How am I ever gonna be human again? Because I know it's not real.
Yep.
Can you stay that way?
Please.
Could you just stay that way?
Go back to the waveform, Danica.
We'd all be better off, honey.
Cut the cameras. And she said that if you were meant to be a waveform, you wouldn't be a human.
So why did you turn into a waveform? Are you not a human?
No, that's the point.
If you were meant to be a waveform, you wouldn't be a human.
Right.
I remind myself that all the time.
You can't tell your kids that Santa is real if you're going to tell them that aliens are real. Ghosts are real. You should tell your kids about ghosts.
How can I teach my son about aliens in the sky and fairies in the forest and say all of those things are real and Santa Claus is too, but that's not real? And my mom said at a young age she was scared of me seeing ghosts and spirits. So I would tell her that there was like, hey, there's a little girl in that corner, and she would be freaked out. So she told me, oh, it's not real, and you've been just watching too many scary movies. And which wasn't the case. And then I didn't believe in myself and what I was doing. I didn't have the tools. No one gave me the tools to be able to navigate that.
Wow, we did forget one. We all have an, quote, energetic responsibility. We have to clear the energy. Having eye contact creates energy. Taking a shower and burping clears energy. Also, crystals clear energy. You know what clears energy? Me pouring a monster onto my head.
Am I clearing energy?
Are you taking a shit? I was gonna say, is pooping clearing energy?
It should be.
Oh, I took a fat dookie before this. My energy's clear as
So there's 5 pages of this. 3 was enough. So yeah, that was a lot. Sorry to joke through it, but reading it out loud has a fascinating effect on your psyche. I would not recommend it to the average bear. You're gooped.
like, wow.
We were like, we're gonna do a quick video, and then we just destroyed our psyche and had an ego death.
I'm simply baffled. I knew it existed, especially after making that pastel Q video. However, not to say it doesn't get old, because it gets old very quickly, but it never fails to surprise and shock and goop.
Well, thank you for joining us for this weird episode of the Clown Town. We appreciate that you hung out with us for this long for the chaos. If you stuck around for the whole thing, let us know what you were the most surprised by. If there's any conspiracies that you didn't know about that we talked about here. We'll see you on the flip side. Bye-bye.
Bye.